I feel like self-awareness is one of the big skills that we need to learn, because what you'll find is that a lot of your confidence, a lot of your communication is to do with the way you are in terms of holding yourself accountable, but also being aware of yourself. And what I found is that as you become more self-aware, you can actually improve yourself to a next level. Because if you're not aware of yourself, then it causes major issues. So for me, I wanted to kind of talk about this because I was thinking about you guys, I was thinking about your transformation, and I was thinking, what is the one thing that will take you and transform you much further than you are already? And I think the big thing that I came up with was self-awareness. So what is self-awareness? When I say self-awareness, what I mean is your ability to get outside of yourself and think about how you are thinking, how you are feeling, and how you are behaving in different situations, right? And I'll give you an example, because I've been traveling around a lot. When you're a tourist in another country, you're constantly getting offered things, right? Because people know you're a tourist, they've got things to sell, and they're always like welcoming you, and they're always trying to sell to you and make you offers. And because in part of my business outside of Muslim Mastery, a lot of the work I do is develop salespeople and help people with their selling and help people with their growth of their business. I've been trying to be self-aware of myself as a consumer so that I can learn more and more about selling as well. So I'll give you an example. I was in this place called Pamukkale, which is a really beautiful town in Turkey where they've got these calcium baths and they look so beautiful. It looks like snow. It's so amazing. And while I was there, I was going there, and this guy, he stopped me and he was basically giving me directions. So he was helping me. And when he was helping me, he was trying to sell to me, right? So he started saying, brother, I've got this hot air balloon, and the hot air balloon is so amazing, and it does this and it does that. And, I was kind of talking to him, and I was like, yeah, I get it. I understand. Yeah, okay, thanks, this, that. I'll let you know. If we're interested, I'll let you know, this and that. And just kind of like fobbed him off, right? And then he I think he probably he did the sales pitch, he got the message, and he went. And then later on, I was sitting there and I was analyzing my own behavior. And the way you want to do this is you want to actually look at your behavior, and you want to ask yourself, how was I thinking in that moment, right? So in that moment, the way I was thinking was that this guy has a business here which he makes money off tourists, right? And so he makes money off tourists, and he's trying to make money off me, right? So how was I feeling at that time? I was feeling like, this was like a kind of a pressure sale. He was like throwing prices at me, he was reducing prices, and I was feeling like, this guy's just trying to get some money out of me. And the way I behaved was kind of like, I'm not really that interested, and I wasn't really interested anyway, but I kind of just said to him, I'm not really interested. But I also gave him hope, because I felt like I didn't want to let him down. I didn't want him to feel complete rejection. So I kind of gave him hope, which was kind of false hope, because I don't really have an intention of going on the hot air balloon. But the whole point of me telling you this is that I was able to look at my own behavior, my own thinking, and my own feelings, and then think to myself, is this the correct way to behave? Is this the way for me to be when I'm in situations like that? And so then when I get into the next situation like that, I can adjust my behavior, because I might feel like, well, I shouldn't have given him false hope. Maybe I should just be direct and say, brother, I'm not interested. Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming to me, or whatever it is, right? And so this skill I'm talking about, this tool, I think help you massively. I think it would improve your relationships. I think it would improve you as a person. It would improve your skills. It would improve your productivity. So the whole thing about being self-aware, I think, is such a big and important topic. And I think it's something that, we should all be really looking at. So I think self-awareness is one of those things that if you start to become more self-aware in your conversations with people, it will lead to a massive exponential benefit for you and your relationships. So the question is, how do we kind of develop this self-awareness? Some people have a lot of it naturally, but others, they need to kind of, really get into making it something that they work on. So one of the reasons why we're not self-aware sometimes, by the way, is that life is very fast. And if things are very fast, you don't get so much time to think about things, because ultimately what self-awareness is about, actually observing yourself and thinking about your feelings and your emotions and the way you're behaving. And so that requires a little bit of time, and it requires a little bit of space. If it's like the circus, whenever it's kind of like, I call it a circus, when, the kids are running around and there's stuff going on, and the family and the house and the work and it's just a circus. like trying to be self-aware in that time can be very, very difficult as well. So what I would say is that to really get yourself self-aware, it requires you to slow down life. It requires you to give it time and give it space. So what I would suggest to you, this is something I would advise all of you guys to do, is I would expect you guys to do what I would say is like a 7 to 10 day trial, 7 to 10 day trial of increasing your self-awareness. Okay, increasing your self-awareness. Now, like I said to you, this is something that's going to benefit you on a whole nother level, but it's something that's priceless for your continuous development. Okay. And so the way I would advise you to increase your self-awareness is obviously like you're gonna think about whenever you have a bad conversation, usually we think about it, right? You have a conversation with someone, it goes terribly wrong, and then you just replay that conversation over and over again, right? Rather than replaying it plainly, like, oh man, this happened and all that. Try and replay it in 3 areas, right? Like think about, like I said to you at the start, how were you thinking in that conversation? How were you feeling in that conversation, emotions wise, right? And how did you behave in that? And then once you get that kind of out there, you want to start thinking about, well, if I was in that situation again, what would I do differently? And so with the hot air balloon thing, what happened is that once I realized that my behavior was being like, I was trying to let him down nicely by saying, oh, I'm kind of interested when I'm not really that interested. I said, from now on, like when I'm speaking to people in the street who are offering me stuff, I'm just going to be really polite, but I'm going to be really direct. Right. And so now, like the people that come to me and they say, Hoshkala Danis, which means like welcome and stuff. I just say, Jazakallah khair, thank you so much. Or if they say, would you like this? I'm like, no, thank you. I'm not interested. Like very, very straight up. Right. Because I've been trying to like change my behavior as a consumer. And so what I'm saying is that once you've reviewed your thinking, your feeling and your behavior, then at that point, you want to start thinking, what can I change for next time? What could I improve? What did I do well? And then just start to kind of act slowly on these things. But in terms of helping you specifically with the 7 to 10 days thing, I have 2 tools for you that I would advise you use. Okay. You can use one of these 2 tools. If you want to be exceptional, you can use both of them. Okay. They're going to seem a little bit weird, but I found them to be very beneficial. And in my coaching with people one-to-one, I've advised a lot of them to do this and they found great benefit, right? So they're 2 different apps and they are meditation apps, right? I might have mentioned them before. The first one is called Headspace. Headspace. So this is available on iPhone. I'm not sure if it's available on Android, but it's definitely on iPhone. And then the second one is called Balance. So again, this is available on iPhone. I'm not sure about the Play Store. So what I would recommend is that you basically download Headspace or Balance or both of them, and then I would start. So both of them have like a beginner's program, 7 days or 10 days or whatever. They're quite good. Sometimes like with Balance, you can actually program in what your objectives are. So do you want to reduce stress? Do you want to increase your awareness? Like what do you want to do? And then what I would advise is that you actually do the exercises, right? So the exercises are around meditation. The good thing about both these apps is that they're very focused on the meditation. There isn't like a huge amount of music or anything. Like some of the other meditation things you'll see, there's lots of music and other things in there, and some people might not want that. I prefer it without music. So what you'll find is with both of these, the way you do them is very, very simple. You put your headphones in, you have a certain time, preferably the morning when the kids are sleeping, when the house is peaceful. Put it into your ears and just sit back and just follow the instructions, right? And what you'll find is that in those moments, you'll suddenly start to become more aware of your thoughts, of the way that you're thinking, and the kind of places that your thoughts are leading to. And this is similar to the activity that we did in terms of spending time with yourself. Now, if you haven't done that activity, you must do that activity, because it's another one that will really raise the way that you think about yourselves, the way you think about things. So I would give this as a challenge really to every one of you. And I would like you guys to come here next week and say to me, you know what, I tried Headspace, I tried Balance. This is what I got from it. This is what I found from it. And I think that both of those apps are actually really, really good. They're completely free. You can go for the free version. You do not need to pay for the app. Just go and use the free version. Do the first few days. Just look at, how you're thinking, how you're feeling, how you're acting, and use this kind of tool to increase your self-awareness. And like I said, if you do that, I believe that there's huge benefits that come to your personal development, but also your relationships, your productivity, and everything else related to it as well, inshallah. So I hope that it helps. Yeah, definitely, is to increase self-awareness. And what you'll find is that as you do more meditation, what happens is that for the first time in many people's lives, they're actually just sitting there and they're just observing their own thoughts. And this is what we mean by self-awareness, like observing yourself and analyzing yourself and your emotions and your behavior, and then modifying it accordingly, right? So yeah, I would advise that you use it for, basically it has a program within it. So it will say, right, we're gonna do a 10-day introductory program. It's just something you need to do for 5 or 10 minutes per day. And one of the days, for example, is just watching a short video about your thoughts and your feelings and things like that. Another day is listening to the audio. But it's just like a very short program. I think it's some of the videos are 3 minutes, some of the exercises are 5 or 6 minutes, and just one a day for 5 days, 7 days, 10 days, whatever. And you'll start to see the benefit of it, and you'll start to kind of do that. So what I would advise, by the way, in terms of taking action, and it's always good. There's a brother that I helped and I coached and I worked with him and I mentored him in terms of his business. And alhamdulillah, he's doing like over $1 million a year now, mashallah, in terms of sales. And he said to me, he said one thing, he said, Muhammad, one of the big reasons I feel that I've had success is that whenever I hear something beneficial, I do not leave that situation until I've taken some form of action. Okay, I don't leave that situation until I've taken some form of action, even if that action is writing something really small, like as an action in my diary. I will do that. So I think it's a really good concept, by the way, because in the end, the action taker wins. And so when you hear something like this, like I've been talking about this for about 10-15 minutes now, right? And so this should give you an idea of its importance. And so when you're hearing this now, in your mind, you should be thinking, you know what, how do I take action on this right now? And the way to do that is to pull out your phone right now, go to the App Store, go to the Play Store, and type in Headspace or Balance or whatever it is, and download it now. Right? Download it now. If you want to start, for some of you guys, I know it's the morning, so you guys could start today with the app. For some of you, it's the evening. You might decide you want to do it every evening. But the point is that basically take action on this. Start doing this for the next 5, 6, 7 days, and then come back to me and come back to us all and say, you know what, I started using the app. This is what I got out of it. This is how I benefited it. And the truth is, look, think about it this way. If it increases your self-awareness by just 1 or 2% a day, just 1%, which is like a tiny fraction of 100%, over the course of 5, 7, 10 days, that could be 5% more awareness. And that 5% awareness is huge for your everyday life. So like I said, Balance and Headspace, download them now, and inshallah get started on them. The other thing I was thinking about self-awareness is that you can actually learn a lot about yourself in terms of looking at what annoys you about other people. Okay, so if there's someone there and there's something that they do that annoys you, that teaches you more about you than it does about them, right? Sometimes I do this with one of my kids. So one of my kids will say, that kid is annoying me. So either the brother or the sister, one of them will say, that one's annoying me. And I said, well, it's interesting you say that they're annoying you, because I'm here, your mum's here, and your siblings here, and we're not annoyed, but you're annoyed. So what's annoying you about it, right? And who's truly annoying? So in the same way, like when you kind of observe other people's behaviors and you see, oh, I don't like that person, or I don't like that behavior, you should be asking yourself why, right? You should be trying to analyze yourself. Why is it that you don't like it? And sometimes what we don't like in others is like a reflection of ourselves, as you probably know already. So that's another interesting angle. The other thing I would say is, in terms of being self-aware, is really get to know your patterns, right? Because we as human beings are creatures of pattern, right? Like we're habits. We're just all about habits. Like the way that you go to the bathroom is the same way you go to the bathroom, is the same way you go to the bathroom, is the same way as you go to the bathroom. It's not like every time you go to a bathroom, you do it completely different. It's not like that, right? Same with the way that you sleep, the way that you wake up, the way that you eat, the way that you do anything. There's a pattern usually behind it. There's habits around it. And so a lot of the time, it's about you understanding the pattern, understanding the triggers, understanding the things that really bring about the kind of behaviors that you're demonstrating already, and then trying to interrupt it, then trying to be different about it, then trying to think about, how else can I kind of do this, which is in a much more beneficial way, or in a way that enriches a relationship, inshallah.